Coming up on BYU basketball with Mark Pope, the Cougars are back home after a 3-game conference road swing, and we've got the head coach and senior Zach Seljaas in studio to break it all down as BYU basketball with Mark Pope starts now.
This is BYU basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. And now, your host, the voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell.
Well, good evening once again, Cougar basketball fans. Welcome back inside Studio C in the beautiful BYU Broadcasting Building in Provo, Utah for another edition of BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. We hope you enjoy the hour of BYU Hoops ahead. Great to have you with us. Coming up on this evening's show, we'll review last week's road games at Pacific and San Francisco. We'll preview this week's games against Pepperdine and St. Mary's. We'll hear from BYU players as they remember Kobe Bryant. We'll be mic'd up with Jake Toolson. We'll watch a Deep Blue on Gavin Baxter. And we'll visit with senior Zach Seljaas in studio. We start by bringing in the head coach of the Cougars, Mark Pope. Hello, Coach.
How are you?
Very well. Very good.
Good.
Yes. I hope it's okay to start this way. I wasn't planning on this, but you've got your wife and your daughters here.
Yes.
In the studio.
Yep.
And one of them is seeing her last show for a while, isn't she?
Yeah, so we're going 26 straight hours where we won't be separated for more than but moments. So Ella came, I had to go do a luncheon in Salt Lake, and Ella came with me, and then so we're doing the whole deal tonight, and then she goes into MTC tomorrow at 1 p.m. And everybody is invited.
And Ella is off to Ecuador.
Yes, she is. And she's ready and excited, and she's way more ready than the rest of the family. So what we've made an agreement that none of us are going to talk about it. We're not talking about it. We'll give it we can give it 25 seconds and you're out. Yeah. Like little conversation and gone. We keep ourselves together.
Well, we're glad you're choosing to spend some of your time with us here tonight, Ella, and of course, Coach. All right. This last week we had of BYU Hoops.
Can I say something before we go?
Sure.
Greg Wrubell, very few people may know this, has got a cannon of an arm. No, I kid you not. So we have a tradition before every practice, and then especially when we go on the road, the night before the game, we'll go in and quote, quote, smell the gym, a Coach Dave Rose tradition, which is really important. So we bring a BYU football, a Nerf football, and Greg Wrubell has got a freaking cannon. Lefty.
Yeah, well,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get some footage. Because it's like a laser.
Oh, I hope we don't. The slinging southpaw from Saskatoon,
right? Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. We always talk about being 3 quarterbacks deep. I think we're 4 deep, my friend.
It was fun playing catch with you last week.
Awesome.
It was good times. And it was a good time because that was in Stockton. And the week started off in a really good way for you guys.
Yeah. I get nervous because there's more people here than normal, and we lost Saturday, so I think everyone's got here to complain. Like, everyone's here like, okay, let me get Coach. Let me talk to him.
No, here to support for a big week ahead. Right. For a big week ahead. Well, let's just get right to it then. Let's see some highlights from last week. We'll start off with the Pacific game.
Jared Jordan is so mad right now.
No, it's all good.
Totally blew the first segment.
Presented by Intermountain Healthcare. Not the best of starts for BYU, down 8-0, but you quickly recovered.
Yeah, it was a little. We didn't start out great, but the guys responded with some real fight for the whole first half, essentially after the first 5 minutes. And guys stepped it up on the defensive end. It was a big play to kind of just get us going a little bit.
Get you in
Jake.
front, yeah.
TJ and AB are just growing a connection as the season goes on. They have a lot more in store for us. So they're getting better and better together, working together.
And in the second half, we see Yoli showing that his hand and his finger feels okay.
I was so nervous all game because I just didn't know what we were going to get. But he was completely unfazed and played physical and caught the ball. And then this Jake Toolson put on a show for the ages down the stretch of this game. It was really unbelievable. I mean, he just made hard shot after hard shot. Before each of these 3 threes that you're showing right now, I'm like, hold up, let's run a play. And Jake was like, no, just bang the 3 and let everybody know about it. And it was an extraordinary effort by our guys against a really, really good team that's beat some great teams at home so far this season.
And as BYU pulled away late, again, Yoli part of his big night in his first game back in some almost 3 weeks of action, and BYU wins this one in Stockton. Your final score in this one is the Cougars over the Tigers by 14. And BYU opened up that two-game weekend swing the right way. And again, you look at that number from Yo, 26-9. We see Jake's big night, career night with 28 points. And you have to realize that's how Yoli came back into things, and where you really wouldn't know what you're going to get.
It's unbelievable. He did the same thing when he came off the nine-game hiatus. And, what was interesting was we're going through the game, and, he had a few turnovers and missed a couple shots that he normally doesn't make. And so there were moments in the game where I'm like, man, Yoli's just doesn't, he's a little rusty, he's not in rhythm. And then he finished the game 26-9, and a very average game for him. And he's a special talent.
That building got redone since we last visited it. The lighting it just felt like a kind of a new vibe and a new feel in that arena, and BYU responded well to it.
Yeah, Pacific's doing an unbelievable job. They're a top 125 team right now, top 135, I guess, and they have not been in Damon's tenure. Damon Stoudemire's the head coach there, and what they've been able to accomplish, especially in the last 2 years and this season so far, is really incredible.
And they'd won 15 coming into your game, first time ever under him.
They're good. They beat St. Mary's at home and had taken a couple of really good teams to the wire, and they're a good team. They'll continue to be a problem throughout the season. And
anytime you can kind of keep Jaleel Tripp managed, you've done a good job.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Okay, so that was the first game of the two-game weekend. Second game saw BYU going to San Francisco, off to the Hilltop, and again for more. And this was T.J. Haas starting 123 consecutive games. Every game of his BYU career, the new BYU record now belongs to T.J. Haas, who has the fadeaway three, and BYU's playing well in the first half.
He started 123 consecutive games, and he weighed in at 123 pounds before the game. He's a remarkable basketball player, and what he's done in his tenure is really extraordinary. And we actually shot the ball great in the first half. Shot the ball pretty well through the entire game.
Right.
We weren't quite as good on the other side of the ball. We kind of lost our focus and lost some intensity, and we didn't finish the game the way that we want to.
Yeah, up 54-40. We see now USF in the midst of what would turn into a 21-0 run. And how weird is it, Coach, that 2 nights after you have a 21-0 run, one against you from your opponent?
Yeah, it's interesting. This game will throw everything at you over time, and it usually doesn't come back that quickly, but it sure did. And we contributed to the 21-0 run. We had 4 turnovers during that span and gave up 8 transition points, and we're just a little bit out of sorts. What I was proud of, the thing that's always been the case with this team is they came back with a ton of fight. After we were really sideways for 6.5 minutes, came back with a ton of fight and had a chance to tie it up here at the end of the game and just couldn't quite get it done. But it's just who this team is, and it's the character that they have and the competitors that they are.
USF wins it by 1, and the Cougars will get the Dons back in not too distant a time. They're going to be back at your place here just next weekend, a week from this Saturday.
Yep, and we need to improve between now and then. We got to get better. We've talked about it every day. It's a broken record, but we have to get better. And the guys have had 2 great practices yesterday and today. And now the key is, can we carry that over tomorrow, and then can we carry it over to the game Thursday? Because that game is going to be a bear.
Yep.
And so it's just this idea of kind of coming after it every single day and getting better, and hopefully we will.
You also saw last weekend how one guy can kind of turn a game and win it in Jake Toolson Thursday. Then Khalil Shabazz basically did the same thing for USF 2 days later. Yeah,
they're starting and backup point guard really, and they spent a lot of time on the court together in the second half and really gave us problems in isolation. Essentially, they just kind of abandoned their offense and said, hey, we're just going to go one-on-one and spread the floor and make plays. And we did not respond, and I failed to respond well as a coach. And so it was so painful. Like, I hate even talking about it. Can we talk about something else? Let's leave Ella's mission off the table.
Okay.
Let's leave San Francisco off the table. We can talk about anything else.
We're going to go to WCC standings then. We'll see where BYU stacks up with the rest of the West Coast Conference right now. And it is BYU in a log jam for 3rd place right now. They're at 4-3. We see the Zags and St. Mary's 1-2. Now, BYU has a lot to say about this because by the end of this next weekend, BYU can be in 2nd place because you've got the Gales coming in your second of 2 games. But again, the middle part of this league, if there's some separation to the bottom 3, we see that. But that middle tier shows how this league, generally speaking, Coach, has gotten stronger, kind of top to bottom-ish.
Yeah, San Francisco, Santa Clara, BYU, St. Mary's, Gonzaga, all top 100 teams. And we have 3 top 50 teams. I think it's been a while since we've been there. So this league is really good, and it's really, really competitive. I'll tell you how good this league is, okay? we go on the road and lose to San Francisco, and it doesn't change our metrics essentially at all. I think we're going to look at that later in the show, right? It just is. It's a great tribute to the league about the strength of the teams in it.
And later in the show is right now. Let's go inside the numbers.
Great.
Yeah, brought to you by Mountain America Credit Union. And let's take a look at BYU's resume and those metrics. And we see that from Friday before the USF game to today, a few days after, we see not a ton of separation in where BYU was before the game and now coming out of it. In fact, even having moved up a little bit in KenPom to top 20. And again, things are pacing well. I went back and looked at this, Coach, and in the last decade, when BYU's been in the 20s in KenPom, they've ended each one of those years in the NCAA tournament. So you've got the kind of team that looks like a tournament team.
Well, we're right here. We're positioned exactly where we need to be positioned. Now we just got to win. We got to win games, and it is nothing. There's no easy games. I mean, you think about it. We're playing Pepperdine, who's one of the hottest teams in the WCC right now, and probably one of the most potent offensive teams with maybe the best. One of the top 3 players in the league, and we have them Thursday, and then we get St. Mary's again Saturday, and it's just one after the next, and it keeps going, and it makes league play really fun.
And the guy you're talking about, I presume it's Colby Ross. Yeah. His teammate is the WCC Player of the Week in Cameron Edwards.
Yeah, and the 2 brothers, right, 4 and 5 they're playing great basketball, and they're a dangerous team.
We'll talk about Pepperdine, St. Mary's coming up in a little bit. Well, from pro to college and even across sports, indeed from the sports world to the real world, the sudden passing of Kobe Bryant has cast a pall that 2 days later continues to resonate. BYU players, among those touched by the life and death of an NBA legend.
Kobe and his line of sneakers is what got me into wearing kicks on the court. I remember wearing Kobe 5s my freshman year at Orem High, and ever since then, they've been my favorite shoe of all time.
He influenced everything that I did on the court. He influenced a lot, off the court, and just how he had his Mamba mentality and what that meant. He really, transcends more than just basketball.
His motivational speeches has been something I watch before every single game. I watch him to stay motivated and to see how he looks at the game and he analyzes it. He's just been an inspiration to me in my life.
I love him. I was grateful for everything he taught us and for the game that he loved and was so passionate about.
He gave me a path beyond basketball of what to do in life, whether it be basketball or something else. I knew that I had to give 100% and try every second of every day to be the best at my craft. Kobe, I always look up to you, and thank you for everything you did for me.
His big thing was his Mamba mentality. I think, especially for me right now, I've read his book and getting through injuries, but not just through this injury I'm going through, but just in life in general, hard things, just getting through them, the Mamba mentality way, just kind of pushing through and getting through no matter what the obstacle is, whether it's an injury, whether it's, not related to sports at all. Just using the way that he thinks, it's incredible, just his mindset. And so I just feel extremely blessed that, he has no idea who I am or anything about my life, but that he was able to bless my life in that way just through his wisdom and through his ability to kind of get through hard times. And so that's what Kobe Bryant means to me.
It's just incredible the impact that he had, even on me when I was younger. I wasn't even a fan of him, but it's been also good just to realize the impact that he's had on my life, just to motivate me to, become a better basketball player and, be more dedicated to the game that I love. So thank you, Kobe Bryant.
I always remember when I was little in class, you'd wad up a piece of paper and you yell Kobe, and it's insane to see how much one person can impact the whole world. He's just a huge role model in multiple ways, like the way he treated his daughter, the way he paved the way for a lot of us.
I just wanted to say thank you, Kobe, for the way you inspired me. No matter how hard I thought I was pushing myself, I thought of Kobe and the stories and his work ethic, and I realized I could do more and I could work harder. We can all take perspective from this, and we can all take something from it. And whether that's reaching out to a loved one or having a different frame of mindset in your life, Kobe's impact will live on, and he'll be with us forever.
Coach, you were an NBA player when Kobe was in his NBA prime, winning titles, and I just want to maybe have you take us back to Sunday morning.
Well, so I was actually in church and I was in meetings all morning, and then the girls came. Of course, my daughters are locked in, so right after sacrament, they ran up there like, "Hey, Dad, did you hear about Kobe?" And I think there's been so many things that have been remarkable. I mean, we were in the same draft class. And, he was at the beginning of the draft class, and I was at the tail end of the draft class. But actually going to the NBA Combine and then going to Summer League and kind of seeing this kid just jump onto the scene and do incredible things, even that summer, it left everybody in awe. And he certainly had a relentless approach to trying to grow his game and improve as a player. And, it's been remarkable, I think, really even remarkable to me to watch the response from everybody that he somehow had managed to connect with, over the course of his career and after his career. It's the power of sports, and it's the relatability of sports, and in whatever way he was able to inspire people or encourage people or just make people smile is pretty special.
He was a father of 4 daughters. You're a father of 4 daughters. You know what that he's got that basketball player with you. You've done the things that kind of pass on your love for the game to your kids.
Yeah, it's I don't know Kobe. I didn't know him really well. We competed on the floor, but I do know that anybody who's blessed enough to have 4 daughters is in a county of blessings that's nearly untouchable. And so we're both really blessed in that way.
Thanks for your thoughts. All right, we'll be back with more BYU basketball with Mark Pope right after this.
BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 25 years. The BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. And by Intermountain Healthcare, healing for life.
Here's your broadcast schedule for the week ahead. BYU hosting Pepperdine this Thursday, 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Mountain, 5:30 Pacific on CBS Sports Network and BYU Radio. Then it is round 2 against the Gales of St. Mary's, Saturday late night Eastern time at 10, 7 Pacific, 8 here in the mountains on ESPN2 and BYU Radio. Well, Jake Toolson had a huge game last Thursday in Stockton. Indeed, he was a game winner. But before the big shots come the long hours in the gym, the practice hours. And in tonight's edition of Inside BYU Hoops, we go on to the practice floor with senior Jake Toolson, mic'd up.
Maybe. Listen, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. I'm glad I got the fresh cut today, though. You feel me? I just want to give a shout out really quick to TJ Haas, who is the best BYU basketball player of all time, in my opinion. And also the nicest teammate I've ever had. You see the effort, boys? Come on, TJ, be like me. Be like me. Sacrifice your body. Yeah! Let's go, boys. Let's have a good one. Woo! I'm through. I'm up. I'm through, yo. Cougars, we gotta have that fight. We gotta have that intensity. Get through. I'm hot. Tag. Good switch, Dalt. Ball pressure. Get there, Ed. Get back, Cobb, get back. Good job, boys. Open up. I'm here. I'm back. Let's go. Shots. Short. Just kidding. Short. Joking. That was a good make. Let's try to make 3 in a row at the same time. Like boom, boom, boom. Ready? I'll shoot first. Rise! Shout! Hey, let's go!
out.
All right, that is Jake Toolson. Whether you're now when you're actually in work, you're actually doing stuff. Whether you're in the drill or on the sidelines, communication is clearly a big part of your practice. I've seen you stop things if you're not hearing enough.
Yeah,
right?
it's really important. I mean, it's a unique sport in the sense of like everything is happening in real time, and so guys have to be able to communicate with each other. And Jake has actually been one of our best guys. He's been with us for a long time, clearly, and he does a great job kind of talking in real time through the game. The best players, in fact, I always tell the guys, if you go to NBA practice, it's like a stream of consciousness coming out of their mouth. They're talking everything they see out loud to communicate to their teammates, and that's what we're aspiring to do here.
So there's tactical talking, which clearly Jake's good at, and then there's just talking, which Jake's also good at.
Well, he had some of that at Pacific, and he's had some of that before, and he's a great competitor, and he also brings some real joy to the gym, which is so important. It can't be overstated, and he loves this game, and he loves competing. He certainly loves these guys, and he loves being here at BYU, and so he's pretty good expressing that.
Yeah. All right, let's look ahead to the week ahead. After 3 straight games on the road, Cougar Hoopsters back home this week for 2 games, starting with Thursday night showdown with Pepperdine. And the Waves, coach, they're rolling. They've won 4 of their last 5 coming in.
Yeah, they're really, really explosive scoring. I mean, and they had an interesting non-conference because they should have knocked off Arizona at Arizona. They had so many games they were right in, and they just couldn't finish. And they started out league just a little bit sideways, but have picked it up since, and they're incredibly dangerous. I think before we got into league play, everybody would have projected them as a top 3 or top 4 team.
They were picked 4th by the coaches in preseason.
Yep. And they didn't start out that way, but they've squarely put themselves in that position right now, and so it's on. It's going to be really challenging.
Now, you're familiar with the net, of course. They break it into quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the Waves are right now good enough that your game at their place turned into quad 2.
Yep, it's a huge game, and it's nice. I mean, it's really nice. You think about it. You know, we have 4 or 5 teams that are quad 2, quad 1 teams on the road, and that's a sign of a great league.
And a great player, as you mentioned earlier, is Colby Ross. He's already the all-time assist guy at Pepperdine. Yeah. He could be the all-time points guy by the end of this year. He's only a junior.
Yeah, he's really good. He's averaging 20 points a game, and he's averaging 7.5 assists a game. His usage rate is in the high 30 percentile, which is just remarkable. It tells you what a key he is to this team, and he can get you in all kind of ways. He's a 3-level scorer. Obviously, he's great off the bounce, making plays for teammates. He's a great charge taker on defense. He's a really, really talented player.
Due to injuries, they're literally only playing 7 guys right now, meaning the main players are in the high 30s, minutes per game. They need those guys on the floor, and they're responding.
Yeah, really important. And they start a little undersized. 6'6" center, 6'6", 230-pound center who's really, really athletic, and his brother is 6'8", 200 pounds, and they're the starting 4 and 5. What's unique about Pepperdine is 1 through 5, they really shoot the ball. 4 and 5 are both shooting the ball at about a 40% clip from 3-point range in conference, and so they're dangerous kind of from every position, from every place on the floor.
So in league, BYU leads in 3-point percentage, but Pepperdine and St. Mary's are both in the top 4. We've talked about the Waves. Let's get to the Gales now. It is back-to-back home games for BYU this weekend. St. Mary's coming into the Marriott Center on Saturday, and this is a game you just played against them in Moraga earlier in the month.
Yeah, clearly it's a really, really good team, and they're actually playing better right now also.
They won 4 or 5.
Yeah, and they're led, and by all accounts, by this Jordan Ford, who's such a talented point guard. We're playing 2 great point guards back-to-back, and obviously a great team with tremendous toughness, and we couldn't quite get it done in overtime there, and we need to remedy that here.
And those who follow this league and those who are looking toward the postseason know just how big a game any game against St. Mary's is, and you've got a great chance to move the needle here on Saturday.
Yep, it's important. It's a huge week. Last week is huge. This week is huge. Next week is going to be huge. That's what our guys have earned. They've played so well that they've earned the right to have every single game be just massively pressure-filled, and we certainly have 2 more of those.
You're 9-1 at home this year. You haven't lost a home game since early November. You're on a pretty good roll here at home, and 5 of your last 9 league games are in your building.
Which is good. It's nice to be home. It's really important. The one game we lost, we dropped to San Diego State, who's they're projected as a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, and we had a real shot at that. So this Marriott Center has been really good to us. The fans that turn out to the games are spectacular. The student section is unbelievable, and we certainly will need every bit of all of that to kind of get over the hump this week.
That's the thing too. I'm hoping we see some of the bigger numbers of the season here in the final few weeks, because it helps you guys, right?
Yeah. It makes a huge difference. It makes an unbelievable difference to walk in the gym and have it be packed and full of energy. And it's one of the things that makes BYU special. It's one of the things that makes us so good traditionally at home.
Okay, go to BYUtickets.com. There's a Ticket Tuesday special in effect tonight. Get to that game on Thursday and, of course, on Saturday as well. All right, programming note. Number 2, BYU men's volleyball hosting fellow undefeated. And number 3, UC Santa Barbara. That'll be on BYUtv this Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Fans, did you know you can have your groceries waiting to be picked up, or better yet, dropped off at your front door? It's all done online at smithsfoodanddrug.com or on their app on your phone. Download the Smiths app and save time. Shop online. After the break, the source of Gavin Baxter's athleticism and how he's coping with an injured shoulder this season. It's in the latest Deep Blue as we continue on BYU Basketball with Mark Pope.
BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 25 years. And by Mountain America Credit Union, guiding you forward.
Welcome back to BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. Taking a look at our Cougars in the pros. Jimmer Fredette, 22 points in a Panathinaikos win in Greece. He was also voted as the Greek League All-Star, and he was the second among foreign players receiving votes and in the top 5 in overall vote getters. And here stateside, NBA G League, both Eric Mika and Kyle Collinsworth, former Cougs, played against each other last week up the road. Mika 26 points, 14 rebounds for the Stockton Kings, while KC went for 12 and 6 points and rebounds for the Salt Lake City Stars, who won that game in overtime. Cool. All right, he's yet to play this season, sidelined after shoulder surgery, but sophomore Gavin Baxter has a great BYU career ahead of him, and his time will soon come again. Tonight, we bring you the Baxter bio in this week's edition of Deep Blue.
My name is Gavin Baxter. I am from Provo, Utah.
Cannon. You got Gavin. Will penetrate, lobs it to Baxter. Baxter finishes the alley-oop.
Gavin is a pretty quiet, shy guy at first. Takes a little while to get to know him.
He's always been a pretty relaxed kid. Didn't seem like he was overly competitive when he was a kid. He's kind of got more competitive over the years, I think, as the level of the demands of basketball has increased.
Great kid. And once you do get him to open up and talk, he's just as crazy as it gets. He's yelling like crazy on the sidelines during games, during practice. But he's another guy who beats to his own drum.
One thing that people may not know about Gavin Baxter is he is my personal urban vocabulary lexicon. On the way to Media Day in Las Vegas, he actually challenged me to use whip and bougie in the same sentence in an interview, which I successfully did.
He's taught me about drip and whip.
Yes.
You know whip?
Yeah, these are all important terms.
And bougie. I got instruction on bougie yesterday. See, look at this. The film crew doesn't know what that means. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, then who do you think's the bougiest on the team?
It's Gav. It's got to be Gav. Gav takes this seriously.
He's having the conversation with Coach. It's for sure, Gav.
Yes.
My mom has been such a huge person in my life. I think a lot of it goes back to how she grew up and her story.
My parents are from the West Indies, and they actually emigrated to the UK when they were just having kids, and I was born in London. But a few months later, we moved up to Glasgow, to Scotland. And that's where I actually grew up my whole life.
And probably not the greatest of circumstances. She didn't have a lot, but she did have a talent for running.
I thought that sounded like a fun thing to do. My dad used to be a runner. My uncle ran in the Olympics for Trinidad. And so there was this idea, okay, I'll go and try running, not really thinking much of it. But I actually found out I was pretty good at it. And by high school, I was running on a national level. I came over to BYU and the track coach recruited me to run on BYU's team. He read about me in a magazine and thought that I looked like I'd fit into the BYU culture. And so that's how I got to Provo. I didn't know anything about America. I'd never been to America before. I took it as a good opportunity to come over and take my chances and see what happened.
You know, I've spent more time in this building than anywhere
in this city. It really was kind of my second home.
She's really been an example to me of using your talents to not only help yourself and improve your life, but others around you, your family, your friends, anybody you come across. Not being satisfied with where you're at, but always pushing yourself, even when things are hard in the face of adversity, just to improve yourself, become a better person no matter what's happening around you.
Every athlete, their biggest fear is getting injured.
I went up for a rebound and just got tangled up with one of my teammates, and my shoulder got dislocated.
It was just kind of a freak thing. He was just going for a rebound. It didn't look like anything too serious on film. Just two guys going for a rebound, and it just got twisted the wrong way.
Go to get an MRI, and I find out that I tore my labrum. And they're like, okay, so this is going to be 4 to 6 months or the entire season. So that, of course, was a huge blow to me because I had spent the entire summer working on my game, getting stronger, faster. And so this was really tough for me.
It's had a huge impact. We had a bunch of things this summer and mostly fall that we're going to obviously include him. So we've had to kind of rearrange our offense and how we're going to guard defensively in some ways.
It's really hard because he's having to really push himself, even though he actually can't get to play the games. And usually during season, that's your motivation. You're like, okay, I've got a game this weekend. I've got to get my shot. I've got to do this. So he doesn't have the same feedback on a weekly basis that the players who are actually playing in the game. So I think that's tough. You have to be even a little more mentally tough to push yourself when the immediate reward is not there. You're looking long term. You're saying, I'm investing for next season.
That's what this sport is about. I mean, that's what sports is about, is you endure the disappointments when they come your way and you build on and grow, and he'll do that for sure.
I'm not able to play right now, but that doesn't mean I should be any less involved or any less of a teammate, and so that's really helped me in my perspective of the game.
He's been incredible. It's been awesome having him on the road with us, with our guys, just being around.
I think it's made him a better teammate, I would probably say, because he can't help them out there and he has to cheer them from the sidelines.
Gavin Baxter is literally, no exaggeration, one of the elite athletes in all of college basketball. His length, his verticality off the floor, his intensity, his timing around the rim, and catching balls and finishing is off the charts. And the only good thing about him being hurt this year is we get him for 3 more years on the tail end. But he has so much growth potential in his game, it's almost staggering to think about. He's going to be an extraordinary player.
So while not playing a game for you, what kind of year has it been for Gav?
Well, I think it was hard for the first 6 weeks, 2 months, because he was in a sling and he wasn't really mobile and he couldn't really engage in a lot of things. But over the course of the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's actually been able to be on the court, no contact still, but where he actually looks like he's getting some work done. He's been able to work on his defensive mobility and his running, and he's actually dunking the ball sometimes with his good arm, and he's incredibly eager to get back to full speed, and we're eager to have him back.
Coaches like to use the word ceiling when it comes to certain players, and I think it would apply to Gavin as having a high one, yeah?
Yeah, it's, we actually have so we pay for the same team that does the NBA Combine testing. They bring all of their equipment they use for the NBA Combine. The same guys doing the testing, they came here and did it for us. And, in the 6 categories, Gavin finished number 1 among power forwards in 3 of them. I mean, he's that type of a freakish athlete, and he's got an unbelievable ceiling. He's got terrific intensity. He's got a lot of desire too. So he's going to be fun to watch and just see what he can become, no doubt.
We look forward to what's ahead for Gav and a great Deep Blue feature. And since last week's Deep Blue that we saw on Coach Chris Burgess, we've added some extra video for you from Coach Krzyzewski at Duke, where, of course, Chris was, and it's Coach K talking about Chris. So you can watch that extended version on youtube.com/BYUtv Sports. All right, for your day-to-day Cougar Sports play-by-play, do watch BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan, weekdays noon Eastern on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Later in the show, we'll ask, what happened? And after the break, senior Zach Sellius joining us here in Studio C. This is BYU Basketball with Mark Pope.
steals Sellius, knocked it away from Scott. Sellius pushed away by Scott, gets right to the rim anyway and scores it. Straight away, AB triple. No, off the iron, no. Rebound, Sellius, stick back and goes! Zach Sellius with 16 points tonight. Sellius will take it left corner. He got it again! 5 for 5. Zach Sellius.
All right, our special guest tonight burst onto the BYU scene as a true freshman, setting a school record for three-pointers made by a freshman with 68. Almost 100 more three-pointers later, he's heading down the home stretch of his Cougar career. Please welcome in Zach Sellius. Good to have you back in. You've done the show before, but we're running out of shows for you to do because you're about done.
I know, but thanks for having me.
It's good to have you here. We broke the news. You kind of broke the news. We shared the news last week. You and your wife are expecting.
Yep. She's 3 months now, just a little over 3 months, and we don't know what the gender is yet, but we'll find out soon, and we're excited. It's awesome.
That's all. And speaking of, there we go. Good to have you here, by the way. Where's she? There you are. How you doing? We know that TJ Haas and his wife are expecting a little sooner.
Yeah.
Like this week, right?
Yeah. We planned it out a little better, so we're not in the middle of the season, but yeah, it's awesome for him.
Thank you so much.
Coach Pope, particularly appreciative. All right.
How did we miss this, guys? Why do you and I not have a mustache right now?
Well, there are a lot of reasons in my case.
Could we not have pulled that off in this segment? Just to get us a mustache just for this segment.
Temporary. Just to have it all going.
Just for this segment.
You know what?
How did we... Jerem!
No, Maren, our makeup artist, she might actually be able to run off it. No, I don't know. But it might be kind of like just right before the deadline. Your look. How would you say this look has evolved over your BYU career?
It's crazy. It's too much. I'll admit to that, but I like it.
Last year.
That's a big
Look
difference.
at you, just last year to this year.
I know. Still handsome, though. So.
It's stunningly handsome.
Yeah.
No, I walked into the gym before last year's season, and it took me a few seconds to actually recognize you as you, because you were tight, and of course you buffed up, and it's like, but you've had it kind of going all kinds of different ways. The mustache is here to stay, though, right?
It's here to stay till the end of the season. My wife doesn't like that, but she'll play with it for now. But I mean, it's just something new.
Does she not like that you're going to cut it off, or that
she doesn't like it now?
Really?
Doesn't like that you have it.
Yeah, she's all right though.
What inspired you to grow it?
I mean, I had the foot injury in Italy, and I spent all that time rehabbing with Coach Shork. And so we made a bet, and I told him I would grow the mustache until my foot heals, and now it's healed, and I'm here, and it hasn't come off, so we'll just keep it.
Okay. Do you get the Nicolas Cage thing a little bit? Who do you get most on who you look like with this deal?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage. Yeah. It's more people will send me messages or things, and it'll just be the gifts of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
But
from Raising Arizona,
like him,
probably.
Yeah.
It's all good. So the mustache thing has become a big part of your on-court persona. You kind of use it as a prop occasionally. You know, the mustache twirl or the mustache wipe is kind of a thing for you.
Yeah.
When do you when does it happen? All the time?
That is so fantastic.
Big shots. I mean,
that was a massive shot, by the way. That is so fantastic.
I don't think that was a celebration.
And the guys have kind of gotten it on the sideline too, which is pretty cool. You know what? So would you say that you've got a mullet going on, or not so much of one, or a little bit of one, or?
Everyone says it's a mullet, but I think it was a mohawk that just kind of got out of hand. So,
you know who says it was a mullet? Gonzaga fans, or at least a Gonzaga fan. Did you hear it at the time?
I never heard it.
It was so beautiful.
That did happen.
Did you just do a voiceover to get
No, that was not us.
That really true?
That was legitimate fan audio from Gonzaga. How would you describe the role you've had at BYU, from the freshman, coming off the bench to make things happen to where you are now?
It's been awesome. It's been a journey. Every year has been different, and it's been new and learning new things. But it's been awesome. I felt like it's helped me grow my game every single year, and it's helped me to be able to maybe go on next year and play at a higher level. And I know that these 4 years here are helping me to get there and to be able to compete at a high level. And so it's every single year has been different, and it's been fun, and I've loved every single moment, and it just helped me become who I am.
Coach Pope, how would you describe what this guy's been for you in your first year?
We actually just were talking yesterday or the day before, just of all the things that Zach brings to the team, is his beautiful debonair style, his ability to shoot the ball, his leadership, the way he connects with every player on the team, his intensity, like the intensity that he approaches every game is spectacular. I have seen. Genuinely, I don't know of very many players that bring as much of their whole heart and soul to compete in every second of the game that Zach does. And it takes a toll, too. Like, it's hard to live there. But he's done an unbelievable job doing it, and everybody on the team feeds off that. If I was going to say one thing that has helped us be really successful, it's probably somewhere in that living space of the intensity that our guys compete with, and Zach is 100% the leader of that.
Where does that energy come from for you?
I have no idea.
You know what it is? He gets so mad at me. Oh, I am so excited right now.
Look at you.
That is so fantastic. All right, can we get it? Oh, that is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I'm channeling my inner Andy Reid right now.
I love it.
By the way, how awesome is Marin? I mentioned it like it might happen.
Give it up for Miss Marin. That is unbelievable. I think mine is stuck.
You can do the twirl with yours. You got something you can actually twirl to. That's wonderful.
I look like I'm from a Western or something.
Yeah, howdy, partner.
This is the little curl is ridiculous, though. I can't even point on the screen.
Are you jealous of mine?
I am, actually.
Yeah. I can see why. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, this isn't coming off now, by the way. I'm going home with this bad boy. All right. I guess I'll just continue what we're doing. So TJ Haws has the BYU record for most threes for a freshman in a season, but he broke the record you set 1 year before when you were a freshman. Three-pointer's a big part of your game. Always been that way? Since when did you start really bombing that shot?
I guess since forever. It's always been a thing. My sister was a really good shooter, and that was kind of her thing when she played here, and so that's what I've watched was her. And then my brother did the same thing, and so just kind of what I grew into. And so I love it. I mean, it's just something that you just have to keep doing, I guess.
And Coach Pope, there are nights like the one he had a couple weeks ago where he goes 5 for 5 from deep. And you're mesmerized by your own mustache.
Sorry, I'm just like, this is amazing. No, the truth is, I was actually at BYU as an assistant when Zach was being recruited, and so I got to race around, chasing him around, watching him bang shot after shot after shot, and cheering like crazy for it. And so he's had this talent for a long time, and I think anyway, I'll leave it at that. He's a big time.
What were you going to say? I'm
going to leave it alone.
All right.
I do have a filter.
Occasionally it shows up on the show. All right, senior year. I mentioned it at the start. Your games are kind of winding down here. What's going to make it the senior year that you hope for heading down the stretch here?
Just to be able to, as a team, accomplish what our goals have always been. Our goal kind of since my freshman year is always to make the tournament and to win games and to win as many as possible so that we can make it there. And sadly, all 3 years we haven't done that. And so for the last however many games we have, that's kind of been our senior-led team. That's kind of been our goals because we want to get there and we want to be able to make an appearance and to be able to accomplish that goal.
Okay, and finally, again, there are no small weekends in league, but it's another big weekend, obviously. The Waves and Gales coming in, both teams 4-1 in their last 5. This could put you one step closer to where you want to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 big games, 2 great teams, and we just kind of have to go out there and grow and learn from what we've done this whole season and just go out there and compete and play the best we can.
Zach, it's always awesome to have you in. Thanks for inspiring coaching me, by the way, with this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I'm going to say this, too. Like, if you haven't had a chance to watch a game and just watch Zach, don't be distracted by the ball or whatever else happened. If you just watch him for a straight 2 or 3 minutes, you get a chance to appreciate what a gift he is to this team in terms of every single thing he does. He works so hard at this game, and you can't miss it. It's making a difference. So hopefully everyone gets to appreciate that because it's making a huge difference for our team right now.
What you just said is really poignant, and it's going to live forever with that on your face, by the way. Oh, man. Coach Pope's going to head off to go either deal cards or serve drinks at some saloon after this. All right, as we go to break, this week's trivia question presented by the BYU Store. Speaking of freshmen and three-pointers, who holds the BYU freshman record for most three-pointers made in a single game? Is it this guy? We'll tell you after the break. Stay with us. All right, who holds the BYU freshman record for most three-pointers made in a single game? Mike Rose. Zach had 7 in a game, but Mike Rose had 8 against Southern Utah back in the day. That is the freshman record for most threes in a single game. Here's our broadcast schedule. This reminder, we've got Pepperdine Thursday. It's on CBS Sports Network, and then St. Mary's on Saturday on ESPN2. That's how you can watch it. You can listen to both games with Mark Durant and me on BYU Radio. All right, we started this next feature a few weeks ago, and until we're told to stop, we'll keep rolling with it. It's a collection of the wild and the wacky from the last couple of games. We call it What Happened? And here we go. All right, this is in Stockton, and this is Yoli Childs doing his best Larry Bird. Not quite pulling it off, Coach.
Man, I would have loved this win over it. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine coming back after a broken finger and banging that shot?
He was fouled, was hoping for the and one, and this guy liked it in the stands because he's Yoli's number 1 child fan. And there were a lot of good BYU fans in the stands in Stockton, including our good friend, the Coug Dude.
Yes.
Coug Dude was there, and he was named fan of the game for his get-up.
He's a legend, by the way. You know he's a legend.
And we also saw him in USF on the weekend, right?
Love him.
So, yeah. And then we have this guy's a little conflicted here on the right because he has the Pacific shirt and the BYU cap.
He's going to win one way or the other, my friend.
Playing both sides of the aisle there. And half of them went home happy on Thursday night in Stockton, no doubt. All right. And then, these sometimes the kids are just kind of, they're chilled out and they're disinterested and they're not paying attention. All it needs to get them going is sometimes a little bit of candy. The candy wakes up the kids, and now all of a sudden we have energy. We have energy, we can dance, and now they're back into it. Good to see the kids and the candy. This was basically an acceleration of reactions. Jake's first 3, bench is pretty happy.
Yep.
Then we go back-to-back threes, and the bench on the step back gets a little more exuberant. And then we go back-to-back threes, and the bench kind of just loses it in Stockton on Thursday night. And you were probably right there with those guys, right? Everyone went nuts.
It was unbelievable. In fact, we were talking about Kobe earlier. So we were playing in L.A., and I was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and we were up the entire game. And then Kobe hit back-to-back threes from like all of them on the left wing to the left corner, and they got harder and harder and harder each one. And it was the most extraordinary shooting few minutes I'd ever seen. And Jake came close to it in that little segment. He was incredible.
We have 60 seconds left to squeeze in, hopefully, Jeff's question and your answer. Jeff's at the mic. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, this will be fast. So we've heard you and your players speak a lot in terms of respect for the opponent, but what's it sound like when you talk to the team to build up their belief in themselves?
My guys are really, really confident in the work they put in, and they're really, really confident in the trust they have for each other. And those two things together, they don't need me spend a lot of time telling them they're really good because they believe in those two things.
Jeff, you did it.
Jerem Jordan, how good was that?
It was really good from Jeff and really, really good from you.
That was a great question. And a spectacular answer, I think.
It was tremendous. It was in under the wire and then some. All right, Coach, good luck this weekend. Looking forward to another big weekend, as they all are in the WCC.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, to request seats for next week's show, just go to BYUCougars.com/Pope Show, and you can be right here with us. We'll talk to you next Tuesday, 8 Eastern. For Zach Sellius and Mark Pope and our beautiful mustaches, I'm Greg Wrubell. This has been BYU Basketball with Mark Pope here on BYUtv. Have a great week. Go Cougs!